athletes, very unlikely. So statistically, I am very unlikely to be here. I'm not supposed to be here actually. But I am here today talking to you, and I'm very happy to be talking to you. So welcome once again, everyone. And next page, please. Oh. Okay. So this is my Telegram profile picture for I think 3 years, since 2023. Now that it's 2026, it's been 3 years. And I always had this Harvard dream. People called it an American dream, but I always said, no, it's not an American dream, it's a Harvard dream. If Harvard was in the UK, I'd probably have gone to UK. But Harvard is in the US, in America, and I will go to Harvard, so I'll go to America. So I had this, I still have it. I don't have any idea to put in my profile, so I'll probably have a photo shot at Harvard and put it. We'll see. And then this one is actually Harvard in my background. So you know people do this. Wherever they go, them putting your picture there means they wish you go here, basically. And this was shot by my mentor, Babirjan Bakhtiarov. Some of you may know him. He's currently a senior at Johns Hopkins University, and he's been my teacher, mentor, brother for 2 years. And his team, BS Admissions, are people who supported me through my Harvard journey for 2 years. And so I had this vision, manifestation of Harvard for 2-3 years. I always said, I'll go to Harvard. My dream is Harvard and I'll do it. And thank God it came true. And so as you have seen, I had pictures as my manifestation. So I'd love to call my presentation as From Pictures to Harvard. So I've come earlier here and talked to some little people, and they're in 6th grade. They're already preparing for their IELTS exam. I kind of did something similar. I took my IELTS exam when I was in grade 9. It was November, grade 9, and I got an 8, and I never retook the exam. And I also took my first SAT when I was in grade 9, and I got 1480. I retook before I started my grade 10 and got 1520, and retook in December and got 1540. So this is not really mandatory for everyone, but if you start early, you'll basically be done with it earlier, and you'll have more time to focus on other parts of your application. So to all people here, I'd say do your test prep, get your stats, IELTS, SAT, or whatever, and then focus more on your essays, on building your strategy for application, doing your projects, or building your overall extracurricular profile. And I always had this energy and optimism ever since I was a kid. So this is, I think, one of the reasons why Harvard liked me. I could show myself through my essays and through my interview as someone energetic and optimistic. So I think this is again not mandatory because there are some Harvard admins that are introverted. What counts most is you embracing yourself and loving yourself as who you are. If you love who you are, people will start loving you as well. And number 3, I'm a daydreamer. I daydreamed a lot about Harvard. As you've seen in pictures and whatever, I always said Harvard, Harvard, Harvard. So I used to do that a lot, and I still do it. And I love pets and flowers. I also talked about them in my application because they contributed to who I am today, my fish and my flowers. And I love talking to people. I am a social creature after all, and I am hyperactive. I feel really bad if I don't have anything to do. It's still same. So, and here are some illustrations. I love talking to people and I love guiding them in English, in German, whatever guest comes to our school. And I do dancing after school. I participate in events, tadbirlar as we call them. This is my fish, my flower, and I play the piano whenever I feel bad. So I do a lot of different stuff to explore my interests. So a lot of people texted me and asked what I wrote in my Harvard application, what got you into Harvard, what was the main reason, was it your academics or your recommendation letters, or extracurricular things, I think they all are the reasons why I got into Harvard, because application is about consistency. If you don't lie, it will be consistent. So I think all parts of my application coming together and showing who I am fully contributed to my acceptance. And now I'd like to focus more on my extracurriculars, what I did mainly after school. First one was called Uzbekim Gauhare. This is basically a non-profit where we teach girls and women in Fergana and Uzbekistan for free. We still do that. And I started this in 2024. So I talked a lot about it in my application. And I also spent 10 minutes in my interview talking about it. My interviewer was a professor and he loved it. He's not feministic, but I think he just liked the fact that I did this, even though I was young and that I had this vision and passion. So we talked about it a lot and it was great. And second thing was Eco Committee at my school. I am an eco activist and I do this for 3 years. I am the head. We do campaigns, we organize events inside and outside school to basically raise environmental awareness in our community. And third and fourth, I would say, was mainly research, because I always loved STEM. I wanted to explore more, so I did research on bio-waste management for more than 2 years. It was consistent. I attended the camp all year, and I did my research. We published some of them, we worked on them, we reached out to people, we did experiment, we went to sewage plants. So there was a lot to talk about this one as well. So yeah, and this is something I want to continue at Harvard. I already emailed one professor and talked to him today. He said, oh, I liked it and we can definitely continue at Harvard. So this is something I'll be doing, and you'll hopefully hear great news about this one. And again, it is about Eco School, so it was big. Why? Because we went to Nukus, because our school won the Green Flag. It's an international award, and I met the wife of our president, and I met the senator and all those people in those events. I did a lot of public speaking and campaigns. So this was something big in my application too, and this is something I still keep doing, and I want to keep doing even when I go to Harvard. So yeah. Oh, and I also did teaching. I taught SAT and German. I also created content on YouTube and Instagram. If you have your phones with you, if you type cool science on Instagram and YouTube, it's gonna come up. I would love all of you to subscribe and follow me. I'll start making content again about science and my life at Harvard, tips for applicants. So I'll try to make it as useful as possible. And so yeah, this is content creation again. This was me teaching German. And then I taught SAT, and these are my students. They're actually both from the US. They go to a high school in Virginia. His name is Matt. His name is Abdullah. He's an Uzbek living in America. So I used to teach people from very different demographics, from India, Kazakhstan, Africa, US a lot, some from Uzbekistan. So I was already exposed to this, global or international vibe environment. And it was so great before my application. There was a lot to reflect on and to learn from, to get some ideas for my essays and for life overall. So this was also a big part of my application. And one thing I want to point out here is, now that you're seeing what I did, you should not try to, do something similar. If you love it, definitely do it. So I want to give you something useful about applications in general, not just about myself. So these are some common myths I've heard around people in our community. They say you need Olympiads only. This is very wrong. If you are applying to MIT, this may be right, because MIT loves Olympiads, and big Olympiads, International Chemistry Olympiad or Physics Olympiad. If you can do them, and if you are sure you can win them, do them, and you'll end up at MIT. But if you want to go to Harvard or Yale or Dartmouth, let's say, any top universities you can name, Olympiads are not the only things you need. Because if you go to Common App is the app you use to apply to universities. There are different sections. There are essays, your personal statement, your extracurricular activities, your honors. So you should have them all. And having Olympiads only will, will end you up where you have everything blank because you won't have anything to talk about. So don't focus on Olympiads only. And if you don't have any Olympiads, don't be frustrated because there are a lot of admins who didn't do any Olympiad. Oh, I actually did, but it was only regional level. I do English Olympiad for 3 years now. I always get top 3, and this year we proceeded to the Republic round. So I'll try to win the Republic too, but let's see. And you must start in grade 7. Oh, I actually went to presidential school from grade 7. So I'd say this is where my journey started. But I learned about application admission from end of grade 8, I would say. And I really started working from my grade 9. So you don't have to start from grade 6, from grade 7. You can start whenever you realize your passion and you start doing something about it. There is no ideal time to start things. The earlier, the better, but you're in grade 9 or grade 10 doesn't mean you're late. You still have time, you still have the resources, you still have your ideas, your brain to do the thing. So now is the time to do the thing for you all. And admissions is random. It's not necessarily random because admissions officers do not look for best people. Because I may not be the best in Uzbekistan. It's just that they look for people with most potential. By potential, I mean people who have a potential, who have a chance to win Nobel in the future, to be the next Mark Zuckerberg, next billionaire, or next, let's say, president of the US. They look for people with such potential. And someone else might have had more potential than me. Again, in the admissions game, it's about showing your potential. I could show my potential, they liked it, they believed in me, and they accepted me. So try to show your potential. I'm sure all of you have it. It's about you using it before you go to that college, you using it and showing it in your community through your projects or whatever work you do, and then showing it to college saying, I have done this, and I can do this in the future. If they see consistency, that's what you have done, that's you right now, and that's what you want to do. If they need you, and if they like you, they'll definitely accept you. So it's never random. It's just about you showing it effectively. And you may be wondering, oh, how do I know how to show it? That's where people to support you come up. As I told you, I work with BS Admissions, and there are people who help me realize my potential, I would say, and use my full potential. We basically worked on reframing my essays. There was everything that I did. It was there, and we just used it in the right context to put everything together. It was all real, we just put it in the right way, and people like them will help you make a strategy and put things together so that it all looks good and appealing to whoever will be reading your application. And you must go to presidential. This is the funniest one. People were texting me after I got in saying, oh, you got in just because you go to a presidential school. And this is very wrong. Do you know Azizbek Zalobedinov? He didn't go to a presidential school. And there is someone else, Jasurbek Umarov. Anybody knows him? He's from actually Pakistan. And he didn't go to a presidential school or whatever school, but he got in, and he's at Harvard. These two are examples, real examples, to prove you that presidential school is not the key. It's not the secret sauce. And how many of you go to a public school or a private school? Not presidential school, basically. All of you. So you not going there does not limit you. It actually can work in your favor, and I'll explain it in a few minutes. And I don't mean like physical resources, money, but you can bring intellectual resource, your mind, your brain, and you can, say, open a club in your school to help people. So successful applicants, what they do is they turn lack of resources into lack of potential. Oh, damn. Lack of resources into actually their advantage in the admission game, because someone didn't have it and you gave them you gave it to them, and you basically impacted your community. And that's good. Ooh, small schools, authentic stories. Actually, some very good stories come from public school kids because they say, I was this, I didn't have this, but even if I didn't have them, I did this, I managed to do that. So actually, you all have your story, life stories, and you can just use them, put them together in your application and talk about them. Context. Oh, context is something I needed to emphasize. What do you understand by context? Anyone who has an idea before I explain? What is context? What do you understand when you hear the word context? Okay, context is basically something like a background. Say, admissions officers really, really care about your context. So let me tell you about my context. My context was, I came from a residential school, I took A-levels, I had this so-called world-class education, I had all the opportunities, and I used them. So I did my best in my context, and they loved what I did. And say, there is someone else in front of me, he goes to a simple public school in a far remote area, and he did not have, say, computers in his school or whatever, and people did not know any foreign language, they just spoke Uzbek. And what he did was he brought English to his school, and he taught it to lower grades or students in his school. And they say like, she had all the resources, she just used them. He didn't have the resources, but he found them and used them. So if there is such a case, like not my case exactly, because my case was much better than how I described it. But in that case, again, they look at his context. See, he was from a different background, but he did well. So there is a chance that he may be accepted. Why? Because he has this potential. He can turn lack of resources into an opportunity for people in his community. So this is how admissions works, basically. Context, your background, it really counts. Don't be afraid, oh, I don't go to a private school or whatever school, because they know where you go to, and they know what opportunities you have. What they look at is the way you use them. And originality matters more when you're not from a feeder system. Feeder system is basically a rich parent thing. Like your dad can donate billion to Harvard type of thing, basically. It's not common here, don't worry, but it's more common in the US. So I think I don't need to mention that one. And focus on impact and trajectory, not prestige. So don't chase titles, I would say. Don't chase titles like, oh, I found this or that. But make sure you impact your community. Let's say, an example. How many of you come to this like Registan school or like learning center? Can you raise your hand? Okay, fair number of us. So let's say you open a club here and you call it like leadership club. What you do is you help people with public speaking because you know that you learn English, people that they cannot show their English to people around. And in your like leadership or public speaking club, you teach people, one of you may be the head of the club, 2-3 of you may be teachers, and some of you may be media managers. And if you're a media manager, you shouldn't say like, oh, I wasn't the head, so it won't look good in my application. Again, impact. How did you impact people in your club or your club members through being this media person? If you can impact them more than the club leader did, you are better. So yeah, chasing titles is the worst thing you can do. So focus on impact. Whatever position you have, whatever work you do, whatever activity you do, always make sure you do your best in it and you try to impact and help people around you. And that's something that admissions officers love. And, essays. How many of you heard about the importance of essays in the application in applying to like foreign countries? Most of you know that, right? You know that essays are important, and people approach essays as like a story. Oh, you need to be a creative writer to write good essays. I was not a creative writer. I always loved writing, but it was very random. I just wrote whatever came to my mind, and I may not have been the best writer, but I could show myself through what I wrote. And About my essay, I cannot share honestly, but um, my essay was very genuine. It was my voice, my writing. It wasn't very academic. There wasn't like fancy words. It was just my own writing, my own voice, simple words. But I could show myself. I could show the way I think and the way I am, the way I behave, and the way I will be in the future. So this is what matters. Don't worry if it's not, C2 essay or whatever, but make sure you can show yourself through your essay. Don't make it like a list of your achievements, but make it your unique voice. So they should work how your mind works, not just what happened. Don't tell them, I was shy, I went to, I went to this leadership club, I was very active, and I tried it, I was consistent, and then I became a public speaker. You're just recounting things. You're just telling, this happened, that happened, that happened. This is not how it works. Your essay should show reflection. This is what happened. Why did this happen? Because this happened before it. So it should be deeper, more philosophical, so to say it. But yeah, not just listing. Vulnerability and trauma vulnerability is not trauma dumping. So have you heard about this thing? But I heard about it a lot before I applied. People say, someone from your family should die for you to write a good essay. Any of you heard it? So there was a very good essay that I read online. A girl wrote it about her mom dying out of cancer. And I read another essay. It was also about a guy whose parent died. And then people were literally saying on social media, someone from your family should die for you to get into Harvard. But that's not true. No one from my family died for me. And I did not write about that in my essay at any point. There was no death. There was nothing like this. So vulnerability is not you showing a trauma, but it's about you showing even a personal challenge, You struggling to define your identity, for example. Who am I? This question can be your vulnerability. Why? Because this is a challenge. You cannot define or you cannot know who you are. And growth matters more than events. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a big event or a big thing that you did, but it has to be growth. Big growth arc that you did. And essays are evidence of thinking, not trophies, not like winning, not list of achievements, but you thinking as a person, as a human, as a future student. Okay. And lastly, I want to finish it with a reflection. Institution, by institution, you can put any university, say Harvard. Identity is better than Harvard. My identity, the person I am, is better than Harvard, I would say. If I did not get into Harvard, I would probably have ended up somewhere even better, even in the future. Why? Because my identity is better than Harvard. And you should have this identity. You should love the person you are, your values. You should, have this integrity. You should stay true to yourself, not only in application, but in life, so that people will respect you and love you as who you are. In the first place, universities. You show them your integrity, you show them your personality, your identity. They respect it, they like it, and they accept you. And then skills developed during the process matters most. Yeah, again, it's not only about you doing extracurriculars just for the sake of admissions. Never do that. Do them out of passion. If you do them for admissions, they will look very bad. They will sound fake. They will look fake. They will feel fake. And admissions officers can definitely detect it. So do them out of love and out of passion, not for admissions. And develop skills. So since I started whatever I did so far, I've gained so many skills. I could not do public speaking, but I worked overtime, did different things, and I managed to speak in front of, the senators, big name people, and all that. And I'm talking to you right now. So all the skills developed throughout the process, the person you became matters most. You choose to be where you want to be in the next 2 years, in the next 4 years of life. So choose it wisely, and be wherever you want to be. Thank you for your attention.
She studies at Presidential School, everything's in English, right? And she's got that 38 from IELTS and SAT 1540. And when you have all that, it's pretty much difficult to speak in Uzbek, right? But hozir savollarimizga o'zbekcha javob olamiz deb o'taman. Hop, you got the microphone. I'm going to speak without the microphone, okay? Hop, savol berishdi. IELTS bilan SAT'ni qanday oldingizlar? O'zim javob berib qo'ya qolay. Imtihon topshirib olishdi. Faqat buni qiziqtirgan joyi ko'p o'quvchilar so'radi. Qanday qilib? Yo'q. Ko'p o'quvchilar so'radi, qanday qilib 17 yoshli qiz ham maktabda o'qiydi. Tim bo'ldi, menimcha o'zbek oilasida tug'ilgan qiz uyda ish qilish kerak va hokazo. Kunlik rejimingiz haqida gapirib bering deb so'rashgan va bir kunda qancha vaqt dars qilasiz? Chunki har xil miflar bor, что IELTS dan 8 olish yoki SAT dan ma'lum bir ball olish uchun kuniga 8 soat dars qilish kerak, kuniga 1 soat yetadi degan miflar bor. Shu o'zingiz kunlik rejimingiz haqida ozgina gapirib berasiz.
Hozirgisi haqida gapirmayman, chunki hozirgisi judayam chaotic, judayam anaqa tartibsiz. Chunki kirganimdan keyin har xil kutilmagan narsalar bo'lyapti. Maktabda edim, imtihon topshirishim kerak edi yaqinda ham. Keyin aytib qolishdi, viza intervyuga borishim kerak ekan, u yerga ketib qoldim. Shuni hozir har xil, lekin o'sha paytda aynan universitetga topshirayotgan paytim, tayyorlanayotgan paytimdagisi haqida aytib beraman. Erta turaman, aytib o'tdim. Erta bo'lishni yaxshi ko'raman, hamma yo'qni erta qilishni, erta tugatishni, chunki agar kechqurunga qoldirsangiz, qayerdan bilasiz uxlab qolmasligingizni? Uxlab qolsangiz, o'qiy olmaysizmi? Shuning uchun shuni risk qilishni xohlamayman va ertalab odatda 4 da turaman. Keyin 4 da dars qilishni boshlayman. Birinchi bo'lib meditation qilaman, ozgina o'ylayman, nima qilmoqchiman bugun, o'zimga tinchlik berib, hamma uxlayotgan bo'ladi, 4 da o'ylab chiqaman hamma yo'qni. O'ylab chiqqanimdan keyin o'zimga bugun nima qilmoqchiman deb ro'yxat tuzib chiqib qilishni boshlayman. Ertalab asosan yangi narsalar o'rganaman. Deylik, SAT bo'lsa yangi so'zlarni o'rganardim yoki maktabda imtihonlar ko'pki bizda matematika, biologiya, kompyuter sayensni chuqurlashtirib o'rganaman va ulardan yangi narsalarni o'rganaman va ertalab miyam yangiligida, bo'shligida ularni o'rganib, miyamni to'ldiraman. Keyin darslarga chiqaman. Darslarimiz 3:30da tugaydi. Undan keyin to'garaklarga boraman. Aytdim, raqsga kiraman, suzishga kiraman ba'zida. Keyin yana har xil nemis tiliga kirardim oldin. Shunaqa qilib har xil to'garaklarga kiraman. Kechki ovqat bo'lguncha, keyin kechki ovqat qilib, keyin endi takrorlashga tushaman. Chunki har qanday imtihonda IELTS bo'ladimi, SAT maktab imtihonimi, practice makes perfect deyishadi-ku. Ko'proq takrorlash kerak. Shuning uchun ko'p takrorlayman. U IELTS listening bo'ladimi, reading bo'ladimi, uni kechqurunlari qilardim. Miyam to'la bo'lgan, endi o'sha miyamni to'ldirgan narsani chiqarishim kerak. O'sha amaliyot qilib, uni sinab ko'rib chiqarardim. Keyin erta o'sha 10 atrofida uxlayman, ertalab yana turib shunaqa qilib davom etaman. Va IELTS haqida aytib o'tay. IELTS hech qanaqa kurs olmaganman. Maktabimizda o'z ingliz tilida bo'lgan, 7-8 sinf o'qiganman va 9-sinfga kelganimda keyin sentyabr oyida adashmasam registratsiya qilganman. Keyin 25-noyabrda imtihonim bo'lgan. O'sha u yozda o'zi ozgina tayyorlanib kelayotgan bo'lganman o'zim. Keyin sentyabrdan sizlarga ham maslahat beraman. Balki faqat meni holatimda ishlar, lekin agar registratsiya qilib qo'ysam yoki nimaga yoki bitta deadline qo'yilgan bo'lsa, o'shanda miyam tezroq ishlaydi. 25-ga qilingan, bo'ldi, o'zgartira olmayman, uni cho'zib bera olmayman. 2 oy vaqtim qoldi. Keyin intensiv shug'ullanishni boshlaganman. Har kuni praktik qilib, o'qular qilib, keyin bordim, Toshkentda topshirdim. Keyin 8-dekabr kuni natija chiqdi. SMS keldi, ayamni ko'rdi. Tushunmadim nimaligini birinchi o'ylab. SMS keldi, keyin ochdim, keyin qishon qarayman, overall 8 turibdi. Men xursand bo'ldim, chunki 9-sinf kichkina edim va 8 biz uchun juda ham katta narsa edi u paytda. Hozir unchalik katta emas-ku, lekin u paytda ham yoshligimiz uchun hamma xursand bo'lgan. Keyin o'shandan keyin endi IELTSni topshirib oldim. Endi SAT o'qisam bo'ladi deganman. Lekin SATga 8-sinfda tugatganimda 2 oy kursga borganman. Hozir o'quv markazi yo'q, mavjud emas. Ustozim bor edi, Hasan aka degan. ular o'tgan 2 oy faqat ingliz tiliga borganman. Keyin Xitoyga o'qishga ketgan, hozir Xitoyda o'qiydi ular. Va 2 oy o'qitgan, o'sha baza bo'lgan. Hamma asosiy qoidalarga, grammatikaga, o'zi grammatikani yaxshi bilardim, u yana ham kuchaytirib, keyin u yoqqa faqat salsaja qilganman. 2 oy shuni o'rgatgan, maktabga ketgandan keyin, ayniqsa IELTSdan keyin shunday praktik qilib borardim har kuni. Uncha qattiq ham tayyorlanmaganman, praktik qilib ketaverganman. Yangi so'zlarni o'rganib, keyin iyunda 1-iyunda topshirdim. Keyin chiqdi natijasi 14-iyunda, keyin 1480 ekan, English 720 ekan. O'shanga ham xursand bo'lganman, lekin xafa bo'lganman, chunki men 1500 plyus olishni kutgan edim. Xafa bo'lganman, lekin o'sha Bobur aka ustozim aytgan, endigina 9-sinfsan ham English 720 ekan, bemalol olaversan keyin topshirishingda degan. Keyin yozda yana o'zim tayyorlanganman o'rtog'im bilan. Va yana bitta maslahat, shunaqa partner topib tayyorlansalar ham foyda bo'ladi. O'rtog'im bilan har kuni umuman qoldirmasdan kechqurun birga praktik qilardik. Praktik qilib uni birga analiz qilardik. Xatolarimizni tahlil qilib, shunaqa qilib birga o'rganganmiz. U 1490 olgan, men 1520 olganman avgustda. English 750 chiqqan. Dekabrda yana topshirib, matematikamga ishlaganman 790 bo'lib, keyin shu 2024-yil dekabr oyida 1540 bor edi menda.
Shu formada eng ko'p takrorlangan savollar bor. Bu o'zimda ham bo'lgan. Men ham chet elda universitetda topshirib ko'rganman. Jumladan Koreya, Amerikaga ham harakat qilganman. Va so'ramoqchi bo'lgan narsam, men o'zim topshirayotganda konsalting orqali topshirganman. O'quvchilar ham so'ragan, konsalting kerakmi? Birinchidan reklama olganimiz yo'q, hech qanaqa, prosta so'raman. Konsalting kerakmi o'zi? Va konsaltingdan siz foydalandingizmi? Men o'ylayman, Amerikaga bu shart emas. Shu haqida qisqacha aytib.
Konsalting degani bu hujjatlarni siz uchun qilib beradigan, to'g'rimi? Yo'q, konsalting Amerikaga to'g'ri kelmaydi. Bilgan boshqa Italiyaga qilishganini eshitganman, lekin konsalting emas, admissions course yoki full support deyishadi. Men aytib o'tdim, Boburjon Baxtiyorov, ularga 9-sinfligimda yozganman. SAT topshiryapman shu kuni, IELTS'im shu bor deb yozganman va men Garvardga kirmoqchiman deb yozganman. Birinchi jiddiy olmaslik aniq, chunki yosh bola hamma kelib Garvardga kiraman deb aytaveradi, lekin hammayli kursimga qo'shaman. Hammayli kursimga qo'shaman degan Bobur aka, keyin Bobur aka, Suhrob aka o'tardi bitta do'stlari, meni ustozlarim. Keyin ular dars o'tishni boshlagan. 9-sinfman, hamma 10-sinfni tugatyapti. Ular aynan o'sha yil topshirish kerak bo'lgan. Men 1 yil erta qo'shilganman-da. Keyin kursda o'qiganman. Umuman admissions qanday ishlaydi, Amerikaga qanday topshiriladi, o'shani 9-sinfligimda bilib olganman. Qanaqa essay yozishim kerak, nima qilishim kerak, o'zi hamma narsa qilib ketayotgan bo'lganman. O'shani nima uchun qilayotganimni bilib olganman. Keyin u kursni bitirganman, Ivy Bridge deb atalgan. Bitirganimdan keyin yana yozda shug'ullanganmiz, doim aloqada turganmiz, nima qilganman, qanaqa research qilyapman, nima publish qilyapman, hammasini ularga aytib borardim. Keyin shunaqa qilib vaqt o'tgan, keyin o'zimni topshiradigan vaqtim kelganda, keyin full support degani bor. U kursda farqli, chunki unda faqat o'rgatmaydi sizga qanaqa qilib yozishni, sizni yozganingizni tekshirib berishadi. Misol uchun, essayingizda birorta xato bo'ladigan bo'lsa, grammatik yoki umuman yaxshi yozilmagan bo'lsa, o'shanga feedback berishadi, qanaqa qilib sizni yaxshilash mumkinligini, qanaqa qilib yaxshiroq yozishni o'rgatishadi kommentariyalar bilan. Ana o'sha full supportni olganman. Yordam berishgan. Shahnoza opa degan mentorlari bor edi, ham kuchli. Hamma mentorlari birgalikda yordam berib, topshirgunimcha, keyin 2-noyabr kuni birgalikda o'sha submit degan narsani bosganmiz. Keyin shunaqa qilib topshirganman va menga kerak deb o'ylaganman, kerak bo'lgan va yordam bergan. O'ylaymanki, hozir aynan nima qilishni bilmayotgan hammaga yordam beradi, chunki ular juda ham katta natija qilib kelishyapti. Birisida early bor, regular bor. Early tugadi, regular ham tugadi. Regular natijasi martning oxirida, aprellarda chiqadi. Earlyniki dekabrda chiqadi. Earlyni o'zida ular 3 ta natija qilishdi, yana davom etishyapti va agar kimdir yordam kerak deb o'ylasa, bemalol foydalanishlari ham mumkin. Ba'zilar bor o'zi qiladi. Unga ham misol beraman. Aloma Fayzullayeva degan qiz bor, Brown universitetiga kirgan. U hech qanaqa kurs olmagan. Hamma yo'qni o'zi qilgan. Essaylarni ham o'zi yozgan, YouTube'da videolar ko'rib, LinkedIndan kirganlarga yozib, shunaqa qilib, u hamma yo'qni o'zi qilgan. Hayron qolganman, rostdan ham. U juda ham katta g'ayrat talab qiladi. o'ziga ishonish kerak, lekin o'qigan shuni, bitta gap yo'rgan lekin o'zi tayyorlangan, hamma yo'g'ini qilib, o'zi topshirib, o'zi kirgan, birovni topga kirmataliga grant tashmasam, 100% grant bergan, hamma yo'g'ini to'layapti universitet, u yerda hozir 2-kursda o'qiyapti. Unaqa keyslar ham bor. Olish shart degan narsa yo'q. Agar o'zingiz bu jarayonda qiynalaman deb o'ylasangiz, qanaqadir yo'l-yo'riq kerak bo'ladigan bo'lsa, maslahat beraman. Chunki o'zimga kerak bo'ldi, o'zim foydalandim va foyda berdi.
Yana savollar bor. Ikkitasini bitta qilib bersangiz. Bilaman shu chet elga topshirayotganda GPA kerak bo'ladi. GPA bu Grand Point Average, ya'ni maktabdagi o'rtacha baholar. Mana shuni Amerikadagi xususan Harvard universiteti Garvardda 5-sinfdan boshlab hisoblaydi. Yo, bu polniy shu 1-sinfdan boshlab ko'pincha ham ko'p.
Yo'q, 1-sinfdan emas, yaxshi tomoni. Demak, siz 5-sinfda bitta tur o'qib qo'ygan bo'lsangiz, yig'lab berishingiz kerak emas, chunki oxirgi 4 yillikni deyishadi. 8, 9, 10, 11. Ba'zi holatlarda 9, 10, 11. High school ularda 9, 10, 11 12-sinfda. Lekin bizda 12-sinf yo'q-ku, shuning uchun 9, 10, 11 ga to'g'ri keladi. 3 yillik, ba'zi holatlarda 4 yillikni bersiz bo'ladi.
Ya'ni bu yerda izoh berib ketaman. Mabodo chet elga topshirmoqchi bo'lsangiz, Amerika bo'lish shart emas, boshqa chet eldagi universitetlarga ham, bu bo'lsin Koreya, bu bo'lsin like Dubai etc. maktabdagi baholarni 5 qilishga harakat qiling va hozir aytib o'tishdi, shu ularda 1-sinfdan boshlab qaramaydi, ya'ni high school degan narsa bor. High school chet elda odatda 12-sinfgacha bo'ladi, bizda 11-sinfgacha. O'shuning uchun 9-sinf, 10-sinf va 11-sinfdagi maktab baholaringiz hammasi preferably hammasi 5 bo'lgani yaxshi.
5 dan hisoblanadi. Maktabda ham 5 olamiz-ku. 4.8 dan iloji boricha baland bo'lishi kerak. Bu degani bitta-ikkita to'r bo'lsa hech nima qilmaydi. Siqilib berish kerak emas, lekin iloji boricha hammasini 5 qilinglar. Lekin ozgina to'r bo'lsa ham zarar qilmaydi. O'zimda hammasi 5 bo'lgan edi. Hali ham 5 va lekin ba'zi kirganlarda bilaman, bir-ikkita to'rlar ham bor, lekin ular ham kirgan. GPA muhim. Agar 3 yoki 2 oladigan bo'lsanglar, unda tuzatishga harakat qilinglar, yana ham yaxshiroq o'qib, unaqa baho olmaslikka harakat qilinglar, chunki GPA baholaringda universitetga o'qish uchun boryapsizlar-ku, universitetda ham GPA bo'ladi. Agar siz maktabda o'qiy olmasangiz, qanaqa qilib universitetda o'qiy olasiz degan ularda fikr bo'ladi. Shuning uchun Academics universitetini sizni olishingizni taxminan 40% da ahamiyati o'qishingiz. Uning ichiga SAT kiradi, baholaringiz kiradi, boshqa narsalar. Shuning uchun ham GPA ni baland saqlagan yaxshi.
Bu yerda yana bitta izoh, ingliz tilini endi o'rganayotganki, yaqin IELTS topshiradigan bo'ladigan bo'lsa, chet eldagi universitetlarga o'zimizdagi DTMga o'xshab imtihon topshirmaysiz. O'ta tipa portfolio yig'asiz, u yuzda qilgan ishlaringiz, hozir prezentatsiya bo'lishdi, qanaqa klublarda qatnashgansiz, qanaqa volontyorlik ishlarni qilgansiz, hamma o'zida bor narsani yig'asizda va universitetga topshirasiz. Undan keyin universitet ko'rib chiqadi, agar arzisangiz oladi, bo'lmasa отказ qiladi. Xo'p, va keyingi savollari berishgan faqatgina IELTS'lari bor. Bilamiz, shu universitet Amerikaga topshirayotganda ko'pchilikda IELTS bilan SAT bo'lsa yetadi, lekin bu o'zi yetarli emas. Prosta so'rashgan bu yerda menda faqatgina IELTS bor. Imagine I have 8 IELTS on the way. Faqatgina 8 bor. Mana shu bilan Amerikada grant yutsam bo'ladi. deb so'rashgan.
Juda ham qiyin. Chunki hozirgi paytda O'zbekistonda o'qiymiz-ku hammamiz. Amerikada misol uchun AP bor. Ularning standart darsi hamma AP topshirishga majbur, topshirishadi va o'quvchilarning bilimini o'lchashni standart yo'li bor. AP ularda, lekin bizda O'zbekistonda sistemamizni bilishmaydi. Misol uchun oddiy maktablarda baho olish unchalik qiyin emas-ku, ular bilishardi. Sizni bahoyingiz ularni akademik reytingga yetarli va universitetga yetarli darajada bilib bera olmaydi. Bizning sistemamiz ularga tanish bo'lmaganligi uchun bizga ham standartlashtirilgan nimadir kerak. Bilimni o'lchash uchun u SAT. Hammasini standardized exam deyishadi, standartlashtirilgan. Dunyoning hamma davlatdagilar uchun bir xil standart. Shuning uchun SAT sizni bilimingizni aniq o'lchashga yordam bergani uchun ularga solishtirishga yordam beradi. Agar SATingiz balandmi, demak o'qiy olasiz. Shu jihatdan SAT topshirish kerak, lekin ba'zida istisnolar bo'lib turadi. SAT olmasdan ham agar sizni profilingiz, misol uchun aktivitelaringiz, yutuqlaringiz o'ta ham baland bo'lsa, o'sha holatda SATga qaramaslar mumkin. Yana bitta misol beraman. Aynan o'sha ekologiyada har xil narsalar qilganman deb-ku. Va qilib yurganimda bir tanishim bo'lardi, Nazokat Kalnazarova ismi, o'zi Nukusdan, Qoraqalpog'istondan. Va u juda ham faol edi. juda faol edi. Bakuga borib kelgan konferensiyaga O'zbekistonning nomidan ko'p konferensiyalarda qatnashgan, o'zini juda ko'p loyihalarni qilgan, Orol bo'yicha, ekologiya bo'yicha, yoshlar bo'yicha UNICEF bilan hamkorlik qilgan, juda ham rasonan kuchli bo'lgan. Tomonlama IELTSdan 8 olgan, lekin ana shu tadbirlarda bo'lgani uchun SAT uchun tayyorlanishga vaqti bo'lmagan. Universitetga aytganda tayyorlana olmaganman deb SAT topshirmagan. Lekin universitetdan $470,000 grant ketdi. Chunki universitet ko'rdi, unda rasonan potensial bor. Yosh bo'lishiga qaramasdan shuncha katta organizatsiyalar, tashkilotlar bilan ishlagan, shuncha narsa qilgan, juda ham faol. Universitetimizga kelib mana bunday narsalar qila oladi. SATga tayyorlana olmabdi, lekin umid qilamizki, universitetda vaqti bo'ladi, o'qishlar deyishadi. Shunaqa kamdan kam holatlarda bo'ladi. Qachon bo'ladi demak? Sizning narigi tomoningiz, aktivitalaringiz, boshqalaringiz hamma yo'lni yuvib ketadigan bo'lsa, o'shanda bo'lishi mumkin. Lekin juda kamdan kam, shuning uchun SAT bo'lgan yaxshi.
Boshqaroqda tinchgina SAT olganingiz yaxshi ekan. Va qiziqarli savol berishgan. O'zim ham ko'rdim, anaqa videolaringizni YouTube'da ko'rdim, Instagramda. And then I scroll your channel as well on Instagram and Telegram. Va siz yo'nalishingiz qiziq ekan, integrative biology degan ekansiz. Ya'ni biologiya sohasi. Birinchidan so'rashgan, nimaga bu sohani tanladingiz? Bu sohani bitirgandan keyin kim bo'lishingiz deb so'rashgan.
O'zim ham o'ylab chiqdim buni. Planlarimni endi kirdim. Bundan keyin maqsadim bo'lishi kerak edi. Shularni o'ylab plan qilib chiqdim keyingi yillarimni. Va birinchi o'rinda nimaga biologiyani tanlaganman? Mana oyim biologiya va kimyo fani o'qituvchisi va dadam shifokor. Tabiiy fan muhiti bor uyimizda. O'shandan yoshligimdan o'zi qiziqardim. Keyin tabiatni yaxshi ko'raman, ammo atrofdagi narsalarni va matematika o'qirdim asosan. Matematikani eng ko'p yaxshi ko'rardim. Boshlang'ich sinfda ham matematika olimpiadalarga borardim. Prezident maktabiga matematika o'qiganman. Lekin kelganimdan keyin Prezident maktabida biologiya boshqa fanlarni o'qishni boshlaganmiz, chuqurlashtirib va Miss Shirley degan o'qituvchimiz bo'lardi, Filippindan kelgan. 8-sinfda biologiya o'tardi. Shunaqa qiziq bo'lardiki dars. U darsga kelishni kutib turardim men. Har kuni naqaga dars jadvaliga qarab, xursand bo'lardim, bugun biologiya bor ekan deb. U ustoz meni fanga nisbatan shunaqa qarashga olib kelib qo'yganda, ertalab har doim biologiya bo'lsa, u men uchun xursand kun bo'lardi. Payshanba deyarli payshanba zo'r kunim, chunki biologiya bor deb berardim. Shunaqa qiziq bo'lardi, shunaqa yaxshi ko'rardim. U eksperiment bo'ladimi yoki genetikada genlarni bir-biriga qilib cross qilib deymiz, cross qilib keyingi naslni necha foiz qanaqa xarakter bo'lishini qilish borda. Shunaqa qiziq mashg'ulotlar bor, ularni qilardik. O'sha ustoz o'rgatgan ko'pini o'shandan qiziqib qolganman. Biologiyani shuncha yaxshi ko'rib qolganmanki, shuni qilishim kerak, kelajakda ham shuni qilishni xohlayman degan fikr hayolimga kelgan. Keyin atrof muhit, shu narsalarni, ekologiyani o'rgangandan keyin maktabda computer science ham o'qiyman. Har xil narsalar o'qigandan keyin o'qish yaxshi yangiliklarni o'qib turish. Substack va Medium degan narsani maslahat beraman, foydalanishlarini hamma mavzularda uzunmas, qisqa maqola emas, shunday odamlarning o'z fikrini yozgani bor. O'zim ham yozib turaman u yerda. O'shandan o'qiganman va ko'rganman. Kasblar juda ham o'zgarib ketyapti va ko'p narsa qilishingiz mumkin, ko'p imkoniyatlar bor. O'zbekistonda qilinmayapti degani u narsa yo'q degani emasda. Misol uchun genlarni joylashtirib, har xil sohalarda kasalliklarni davolash yoki boshqa narsa qilish hozir juda ham ko'p davlatlarda amalga oshirilyapti va aytganman, shunaqa qilgim kelyapti, shunaqa qiziq narsalarni o'rgangim kelyapti, o'zim sinab ko'rgim kelyapti deganman va aynan shu hamma qiziqishlarimni yig'indisi integrative biology ekan. Faqat biologiyani o'zini o'qimayman, biologiyani boshqa sohalar bilan birga integratsiya qilib o'rganaman deganman va Garvardda bor ekan bu soha, ham universitetda yo'q ekan, keyin Garvardni tanlaganman. Ham Garvard bo'lgani uchun, ham yo'nalishi bo'lgani uchun yoqqan. Va yana bitta fun fact. Bugun ertalab email oldim, kecha yozgan edim. Aynan Integrative Biology Departmentda juda ham zo'r olim bor ekan. Uni profilini ko'rib chiqdim. Hamma qiziqishlar o'xshaydi ekanda. U evolyutsiyaga qiziqishi, orollarga borib o'rganishi va eng qizig'i Turkiyaga qiziqar ekan. Turkiyada yashab kelgan ekan. Mana yaxshi ko'raman Turkiya madaniyatini. keyin yozdim unga, men yaqinda qabul qilindim. Shu integrated biologyni o'qimoqchiman. Qanaqa maslahatlar berasiz boshimdan o'tdim. Tezdagina 3 soatda javob yozdi menga. O'qib biroz xursand bo'ldim. O'zining maslahatlarini berdi. Kutaman kampusda kuzda kelishingni deb yozdi. Xursand bo'ldim. Shunaqa yaxshi fakultet, yaxshi professorlar, qiziqarli soha. O'ylaymanki, o'qish ham qiyin bo'lmaydi, chunki yaxshi ko'rsangiz nimani, u hech qachon sizga qiyin bo'lmaydi. Va harakatda yerda ham yana a'lo baholar olishga, ko'p narsa o'rganishga.
I also have a question, like someone teach biology or chemistry. I also want to enter the medicine university, but I have been learning biology and chemistry in Uzbek, as you know. And there is the question: if I want to enter the Harvard or American university, my knowledge, my like education, I was educated. I read the articles in Uzbek, etc. Like, I have a question. When we are testing, when we are test, what language it will be?
So they're not gonna do tests while applying.
Yeah.
In English or
There's nothing like the you don't have to do any tests. You study them in Uzbek, that's okay. You do your things in Uzbek, but you speak English and you apply in English. You go to college, you have your courses in English. You will have enough time to learn your field in English. I'm completely sure. Say, other Uzbek admins who didn't go to residential school also studied in Uzbek or in Russian, and they didn't study their subject in English necessarily, but they're doing very, very well in college.
Birinchidan bunga qarshilik qilishmadimi? Qanaqa reaksiya bo'ldi va shunaqa qarshilik qilayotgan akalarga deymizmi yoki oilalarga qanaqa maslahat berasiz? O'zi umumiy.
Yo'q, qarshilik qilishmayapti. Birinchi boshda 8-sinfligimda oyim biroz aytardi, qiz bolasan, o'zing borasanmi, bormagandirdi. Keyin qattiq o'qishni boshlagandan keyin ancha narsa qildim, keyin ko'rgandan keyin borishim kerak ekan dedi. Shuncha narsa qilyapsan, bekorga ketmasin dedi. Keyin Zagran pasport olishga borganmiz. O'shanda so'rashgan, nimaga olyapsizlar o'zi? Hali yosh ekan, yoshimga yetmasdan olgandim. Nimaga olyapsizlar deb so'raganda, qaysi davlatga ketyapti deganda, Amerikaga deyishganimda, o'shanda xursand bo'lgandim. Chunki ota-onam o'zlari qo'llab-quvvatlashadi. Kim so'rasa, qayerda o'qiydi, endi Plesiya maktabini bitirib desa, kirishimdan oldin ham aytishardi hamma oila a'zolarim. O'qim, ayam, dadam hammasi Amerikaga borib o'qiydi qizim deb, shuning uchun hech qanaqa qarshilik bo'lmagan oilamizda.
Va qarshilik qilayotganda qanaqa maslahat beradi? Ishonish berasiz.
Qarshilik qilayotganga ishoninglar farzandinglarga. Birinchi qizlarga maslahat bergan bo'lardim. Shunga ishonch hosil qilinglarki, ota-onalaringiz sizlarga 100% ishona oladi. Chet elda o'zingiz oyoqqa tura olishingizga, o'zingiz yashay olishingizga va o'zingizning qadriyatlaringizga to'g'ri tura olishingizga. Agar ota-onangiz sizga ishonishsa, bemalol jo'nab olishadi. Ota-onam misol uchun ishonishadi menga. To'g'ri yo'lni tanlashimga, doim to'g'ri bo'lishimga, shuning uchun har doim ruxsat berishadi. Yaqinda Toshkentda ham bir haftacha bo'ldim, u yerda o'zim bo'ldim. Ota-onamsiz unda ham ishonishdi. Boshqa davlatda bo'lsa ham o'ylaymanki ishonishadi va birinchi aytgan bo'lardim. Chet elga ham hamma odamlar, hech kim anaqa ozgina xavfli bo'lishi mumkin, aqsh, lekin baribir ayniqsa universitetlar xavfsiz. Misol uchun Harvard Square bitta mahalla, xavfsizlik u yerda juda ham yuqori darajada, hamma yoq ta'minlangan. Shuning uchun ishoninglar, chunki farzand u yerga ilm olgani ketyapti va yuqori darajadagi ilm olgani ketyapti. Ilmni olib qaytib kelsa, u nafaqat oilani, balki butun davlatning yuzi bo'ladi, butun davlatga foyda keltiradi. Shuning uchun shuni hisobga olib, ota-onalardan farzandlarini xoh u qiz bola bo'ladimi, o'g'il bo'ladimi, qayerda bo'lsa ham ilm olishlariga ruxsat berishlarini, sharoit yaratib berishlarini aytgan bo'lardim.
Keyin savol shu yerda, mabodo agar audiolarda savol bo'ladigan bo'lsa, shu qo'lni ko'tarib bemalol gapirib savollarni so'rasanglar bo'ladi.
My question is, what's your advice about doing research and how we can email to the professors?
So I think you're talking about cold emailing. Yeah, you can email professors right now, but there's no guarantee that they will get back to you. Because I cold emailed around 50 professors, and they emailed me saying they don't have time. So I had to do something different. I attended a camp called Harvard's Research Camp, and you can go to camps like this. There are some of them in Uzbekistan. There's also a project of a friend of mine called Scholars Connect. They teach high school students how to do research, and professors teach how to do research. So you can join their program. There are also international research programs called Pioneer or Lumiere. You can apply. If you get in, that's great. If you don't get in, there are some opportunities in Uzbekistan, so student-led projects, and you can join them, and they will teach you how to do it.
Harvard yoki Amerikani shu top universitetda o'qishayotganda extracurricular activity'lar bo'ladi. Bu o'sha o'qishdan tashqari qilinadigan deylik klublar ketishyapti. Bunaqa narsalarga qo'shilayotganda iloji boricha noodatiy narsaga qo'shiling. Misol uchun, is it right? Yeah. Misol uchun hamma hozir nima qiladi? Speaking club, TED Talks, right? Prosta atrofingizga qarang, hamma nimani qilyapti. Siz o'shani qiling bo'ldi. Bularni misolda aytishyapti, san'at klubi. Misol uchun men o'zim ham ko'rmaganman yoki personally tanimayman, bironta o'rtog'im meni borib rasm chizishga yoki deylik piano chalishga boradigan bilan va shunaqa klublarni tashkil qilganlar. Like personally, she was a member of Ecovist, and Ecovist, if I'm not mistaken, is it something related to
Yana bitta narsa aytmoqchiman. Agar maktabni darsligidan chiqaman, shunaqa o'zimni challenge qilaman demoqchi bo'lsanglar, unda AP olishlarni maslahat beraman. AP O'zbekistonda juda ham ommalashyapti. Har xil fanlar. Calculus bo'ladimi? Matematika calculus, biologiya, chemistry, computer science, hamma fandan bor AP. Buni ham olib yoki ustoz bilan yoki umuman o'zinglar o'rgansanglar ham bo'ladi. Topshirsanglar, chiqadi bahosi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 baho qo'yiladi. Amerikan testi ham. Shu, lekin majbur emas. Yana, agar sizni maktabingizda yo'q bo'lsa, majbur emas. Agar challenge qilsangiz, yaxshi, lekin universitetga topshirganingiz yaxshi, chunki Qimyon kollejlarga o'zingiz to'lashingiz kerak bo'lsa. Misol uchun Ivy League yoki boshqa top universitetlar financial aid beradi, pul to'laysiz. Hamma o'zini qoplab beradi. Community collegelar bor universitetda, Amerikada, o'sha hamma shtatda bor. Ular sizga pul ajratmaydi. Chunki ularda budjetida chet elliklarga pul ajratilgan qismi bo'lmaydi. Ular sizga ajrata olmaydi, pul o'zingiz to'lashingizga to'g'ri keladi. Agar to'layman, pulim bor, bormoqchilik bo'ladi, lekin aynan bizning sharoitda chet elliklar uncha katta darajada mablag'ni to'la olmaganimiz uchun universitet top universitetda 100% beradi. Shuning uchun hamma topga qo'shadi. O'sha yaxshiroq bo'ladi.
So, do we have any other questions? Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah. Actually inspired. So a lot of essays by wrote some people who got in a top identity. And I think my question is, have you during your oral, it's about coach essays. Coach during the process, for your coach essay should be like storytelling or creative writing. Like, have you
I think we should be
like
something.
without you use some strategies.
There is no formula, as I said. Some make it very creative. You know, they make it very descriptive. I would say not creative. A lot of descriptive elements, but some make it simpler. So, like, use whatever way you like. It just has to be understandable. If it's very complex, and if your reader doesn't understand it, it's really bad. But make sure your reader understands it. If they understand it, they start to think about it. When they start to think about it, they start to like it.
Va o'sha formadagi savollarni ham aytib o'tishganda, so'rashgan essaylarga qanaqa structure ishlatdingiz? A structure ishlatdingizmi yoki B structure'ni? Ataylar bu savollarni olmadik, chunki bu IELTS'da ham, university application'da ham structure degan narsani o'zi yo'q-da. She said there is no secret formula, right? Ya'ni yozayotganingizda aytishgandek asosiysi context, o'zi background yozib berishingiz kerak, o'zidagi bor backgroundlari hammasi haqida yozib berishingiz kerak va u essay maksimum o'qiyotgan odamga tushunarli bo'lishi kerak edi. Hech qanaqa structure yo'q, structurelarni unuting. Просто o'zi background kontekstingizni ochib berishingiz kerak.
O'qigan odam sizni kimligingizni bilib oldimi? O'sha eng muhim. Bitta essay yordamida o'zini ko'rsatib qiyin, to'g'ri. 650 ta so'z bilan siz 17 yil hayotingizni yozishingiz kerak, lekin o'shani harakat qilishni butun hayotingizni yozish shart emas. Sizni shu kunga kelishingizga, shu odamga aylanishingizga eng katta foyda bergan narsa nima? Siz qilgan narsani o'shani yozishingiz kerak.
Ofisda turadi. Qo'y. Telefonni chaqiradi.
5-sinfdan kursga boshlaganman.
Maktabdagi GPA baholar haqida gapirganingizda, maktabda juda ko'p fanlar o'qitiladi bizda. Hammasini o'qish, 5 ga o'qish juda qiyinroq men uchun. Shuning uchun 3-4 yoki bilan top universitetlarga qabul qilish mumkinmi?
3-4 ko'payib ketmaslik kerak-da. Aytdim-ku, top universitetlarga 9-8 dan baland bo'lgani yaxshi. Agar kamayib ketsa, harakat qiling. Ozgina to'g'ri bo'lsa yaxshi, 1-2 ta. Lekin hammasi 5 bo'lsa undan ham yaxshi. 3 lekin xavfli.
Bunga faqat yillik baholarimiz olinadi.
Ha, yillik.
Qaysi so'zlarni o'rganish kerak va har bir kasbga mo'ljallangan.
Hamma kasbga mo'ljallangan. Xohlagan yo'nalishdagi topishingiz bo'ladi, xohlagan faningizda. Hech qanaqa cheklov yo'q. IELTS faqat ingliz tilini qanday darajada bilishingizni tekshiradi. SAT ingliz tilini qay darajada foydalana olishingizni tekshiradi ilmiy sohada. Chunki SAT'da ko'proq mantiqqa tayanasiz. IELTSda o'sha tekstdagi narsani topib olishingiz muhimku, gapira olishingiz yoki SAT'da siz tekstni tushunib, tekstni aniq qilishingiz kerak. Mantiqiy o'ylab chiqishingiz kerak. O'sha SAT mantiqroq, hamma SAT'da matematika bilan ingliz tili bor, IELTSda ingliz tilini o'zi. SAT shu darajada qiyin, ozgina qiyinroq, chunki nimaga? Unda mantiq bor. Uchinchi skill. Faqat ingliz tili va matematika emasda, mantiq, tanqidiy fikrlashingiz kerak.
Qo'shimcha til bilsa, shu ustunlik bo'ladimi?
Bilmadim to'g'risi. Men bilardim misol uchun, lekin mendan oldin kirganlar hammasi ham bilmasdi. Bilib kirganlar ham bor, bilmasdan kirganlar ham bor. Agar o'sha tilni bilganingiz sizni vaziyatingizda undan foydalana olgan bo'lsangiz, men foydalanganman, chunki o'rgatganman. Unda yordam beradi, lekin bilmasangiz ham kira olmaydi degani emas, chunki bilmasdan turib kirganlar ham ko'p.
Menimcha savollarni tugadi. Hamma resurslarni Telegram kanaliga joylab qo'yamiz va undan keyin Instagramga ham stories qo'yamiz. Hozir qisqa bitta gapim bor edi. Dilafruz hozir o'qishga kirishibdi. Yosh ekanlar, adashmasam, you're 17, right? Endi 17 yoshlar, lekin oramizda o'sha 17-16 yoshlar bor. Va ko'p o'quvchilar shoshadi. Men o'zim ham o'qituvchi bo'lganimda o'quvchilarim endi beginnerga kelgan bo'ladi, men qachon IELTS olaman yoki IELTS 7 ni qachon olsam bo'ladi? 6 oyda tayyor bo'lamanmi? 5 oyda tayyor bo'lamanmi? Men MITga kirmoqchiman, Amerikaga ketmoqchiman. Yana so'ra ko'p bo'ladi, Angliyada o'qimoqchiman. Bu zo'r, katta maqsadingiz bo'lsin, katta ambitsiyalar bo'lsin, lekin любой narsani o'rganish, til o'rganish bo'ladimi yoki deylik qanaqadir bir fan o'rganish bo'ladimi? O'zim yaxshi gapirganda bu tennis o'ynashga o'xshaydi deydi, ya'ni naso'ni tennis o'ynashga. Tennis o'ynayotganda siz shotga qaramasdan o'ynaysiz, naborot harakatga qarab o'ynaysiz. Xuddi shunday, agar mabodo o'qiyotganda ham siz har end resultga, ya'ni oxirdagi natijaga urg'u beraversizda, bu yoqda proses qolib ketib qoladi, natijada resultingiz ham past chiqadi, oxir oqibat qanaqadir bir natijaga ham erisha olmaysiz. Va rosa ko'p qidirdik har bir haqida, yo'l bitirib chiqsa nima bo'ladi yoki kirganda rosa o'yladik, nafs kelsa nima qilamiz, prosesga berib qo'yaylikmi, pul beraylikmi deb o'yladik va oxiri biz topdik, shu bitirganda har birda there is something called come load, right? Ya'ni come load degan narsa bor ekan va summa come load degan narsa bor ekan. Biz shuni yasashga urindik, bitta ko'ring, agar yo'qolgan bo'lsa, biz yasashga urindik. Xudo xolasa o'qishni bitirib kelishgandan keyin aynan mana shu Registonga kelib bitiruvchi bo'lib bitta mana shu diplom bilan, faqat haqiqiysi bilan kelib, yana bitta bizga guest lecture qilib berishadigan umiddaman. Bu tashakkurlarman sizga, ota-onangizga katta rahmat. This is a small gift from our learning center. Hope you're going to like it. Navbat rasmiy ishmoqchi bo'lsangiz, prosta kelib rasmiy ishlansangiz bo'ladi va personal savollarni so'rasangiz bo'ladi. Faqat iltimos ko'p vaqt olmaylik, chunki zo'rg'a ko'ndirdik. Bulardan so'rayotganda aytishdi, что men boshqa kunlari kela olmayman deydi, chunki prezident maktabida qo'yishmas ekan. Shanba yoki yakshanba kunlari bo'shman deydi. Soatini gaplashayotganimizda ham aytishdi, men uyimga o'zi haftada bir marta boraman. O'shanda ham ertaroq boray deydi va shu rozi bo'lganlarga katta rahmat. Lafuz, joyingiz sog' bo'lsin. Katta rahmat.